So we've come to the climax of a superb week of tennis with a final between Lleyton Hewitt of Australia, the number 10 seed, and Agassi of the United States, number 11. And a sense of expectation here in this lovely bowl of a stadium. The Lindner Family Tennis Centre.
First is Agassi.
Agassi put in the bat by Hewitt, who won the toss.
First few games are going to be of interest to see just how well Agassi's moving around the court, see whether he's even the slightest bit stiff after last night's exertions.
Making a statement to Hewitt, saying, look, you want to rally cross court on the backhand. I'm going to be here for as long as it takes.
And that's the tactic I think Hewitt's going to try and use as much of the time as possible, to try and use some short angles perhaps to take Agassi out of his comfort zone at the middle of the baseline.
Catching Roddick last night with that wide one. The American wasn't returning them, but he is ready for it.
First game.
But he did serve quite well for an opening game there. And I was just thinking, Jason, the one big difference from last night for Agassi is the temperature. It was fairly cool last night, a very pleasant temperature. Today in the sun, darn hot.
Yeah, it was perfect conditions last night for him to play that hard-fought three-set encounter. But this afternoon, I think it's certainly going to take a little bit more out of him, and it'll be interesting to see if fatigue does play a part in the match, if it goes the distance.
Cahill there, Agassi's coach. I saw him hitting with Andre earlier, serving at it. He was pummeling his returns in practice.
That's another little interesting fact to this match. Cahill, of course, used to coach Lleyton Hewitt, so should know all about his game. It'll be interesting to see if Agassi does try and use any particular tactics in today's match.
15 on.
The improved serving of Lleyton Hewitt, we noted. And that's right, last night also there's Roger Rashid, who is Hewitt's coach. They were hitting also earlier. Mentioning the sort of overlap of coaches, Brad Gilbert, of course, was in the same position last night. Formerly, there is Kim Clijsters, Lleyton's fiancée. Brad Gilbert, formerly Agassi's coach, now coaching Roddick. He was looking anguished last night.
A lot of players have tried to use that shot to the Agassi forehand over the past couple of months to try and exploit that lack of movement to that side. But last night Agassi was equal to it and then some.
Yes, just long. Look at that. He's made his opening too. He'll be sorry to have missed that.
The backhand down the line is going to be an important shot, I think, for both players, because the backhand cross-court rally will progress until one decides to change direction on the ball.
Net for service.
And it's an indication that Agassi is confident and he's seeing the ball like a football early on in this match, because that is a difficult shot to execute and he made it look very, very easy.
Oh. They both have that facility to take the ball on the rise almost as a half volley. It's devastating when it's as accurate as that.
Left for service. Hewitt. One game.
Well, a hard-fought game there. Hewitt having to think out the tactics carefully. Draw level. And it's a curious fact that the player who's played the night match here over the years tends to lose the final. Because there is a big advantage playing in the afternoon in terms of hours of rest.
Lovely teaching.
Well, I think one of the main differences between these two competitors this afternoon will be the first serve percentage. I expect Agassi's to be nice and high, well above 50%, but I think Hewitt's may struggle to get above 50%, and that could be a telling factor.
such a wonderful angle.
15-13.
And that's an excellent example of what I was talking about, because if you miss your first serve, both of these players return particularly well on the second, and they'll be looking to take full advantage of any opportunities that come their way. Well, the difference there was just an extra couple of feet in length from Hewitt, forcing Agassi just to make that last second adjustment with the feet, and he couldn't quite get it right.
13-14.
Kim not yet able to play back on the tour. She's still got that wrist problem, and then had something else wrong with her as well. Well, he's annoyed that Agassi caught the ball as if influencing the linesman, but I don't think it was. I mean, it was clearly out. No question about that.
It was definitely out, but players don't like that. They like to wait for the call to come first before the opposing player either points or stops the rally. That was a good point. Again, the return too short. Agassi taking full advantage. We saw him come into the net very effectively last night against Roddick. I'm sure he'll do the same today if the ball is dropped short enough.
Picked out as one of the key elements of today's match. The backhand down the line, one or two absolute epics already. And 2-1 now, no breaks. Agassi ahead first.
Well, it was a very good game to win as far as Agassi's concerned. Obviously saving the 2 break points. Certainly don't want to go a breakdown if you are feeling a little bit jaded. And I'm sure that Agassi can't be feeling 100% coming into this match. He must be a little stiff, a little tired, a little jaded after exertions of last night. So it's always important on those occasions to start the match well. Then you can get the blood flowing, and then once you've played half a dozen games or so, then it becomes irrelevant. Then, only if it goes the distance do you then start to get ill effects. So I think for Agassi it was very important to start well, and that's exactly what he's been able to do. And he likes to dominate with the forehand from the back of the court, and we've seen already that the backhand is in excellent form, and that's always a good barometer to judge how well Agassi's playing and how confident he's feeling. If he does go for that shot up the line and it works, he gets even more confident, and if he misses it, then it certainly does affect his game plan, because he can't change direction on the ball.
The welcome shade of the umbrellas shielding them from the sun, which temporarily actually has departed behind cloud. They were saying today it would be cloudy part of the time, and it is now. And the players actually would be quite pleased about that, I think. Deadly from anything half-court. That's why length, depth is going to be crucial, unless, of course, they're playing an angle and making the opponent run, but otherwise it must be kept deep.
14.
Impeccable length from Agassi throughout the rally.
14.
And the last approach shot was so good that really it was just a relatively simple shot to finish the point off.
Hewitt.
There's rushed in there with an early ball again.
2 games on.
So far, so good in the Hewitt camp. 2-all. Well, of course, one of the things they'll be pleased about is that the sweltering heat is not with us today. 82 degrees there. It was 94 in the sun, of course, we're talking about. The other day, 94 was sweltering. This isn't quite the same sort of match for Agassi as it was against Roddick, who was prepared himself to try and out-hit Agassi and made a few errors. Hewitt is quite content to keep the rally going and is fast enough to get to most of Agassi's shots. Jason, this is going to be a test of patience.
No doubt about it, and also stamina as well. If Agassi has to work harder to win the points from the back of the court than he did last night, then if it does go the distance, then perhaps fatigue will be a telling factor. But there's no doubt about the fact that Hewitt will be a lot more content to let the rallies progress than Roddick was last night. So far, so good for Agassi. From the back of the court, he is able to dominate the rally, and more often than not, he does have Hewitt on the back foot, and that's exactly how he likes to play the vast majority of his rallies.
Thought that was an ace. Just a little anxious today. The serving continues to be good. Agassi working hard, but he's 3-2 first set.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner in the Mercedes-Benz pedal car raffle. The winner will receive.
Well, it's always good to hold your first few service games, and Agassi's certainly been able to do that. First serve percentage has been effective. Not quite getting as many in as he would like, but only losing 1 point on serve so far. So Hewitt's got a little job to do. He's got to try and get after Agassi's second serve, and that's going to be the key to him breaking serve, because we know that his first serve is effective, Hewitt's that is, and Agassi will certainly be looking to get after the Australian second serve. And so there's a real battle there. Last night Roddick wasn't able to get after the Agassi second serve at all, and that was a real problem for him. I would certainly expect Hewitt to return more balls in court. Whether the Australian has the ability to be able to dominate the rallies from the back, then that remains to be seen, because Roddick obviously was looking to use his forehand, but that was pretty ineffective for the younger American last night. And so Hewitt's got to find a way to hurt Agassi from the back of the court. So far, he's trying to do that with consistency.
And you can just see in the background the electric fans which the tournament provides for the players to cool them off at the change of lanes, which is a welcome innovation.
Time.
And Darren Cahill sitting there quietly, doesn't give much away. And the fans in the stands are fanning themselves to keep the heat down. You can see them in the background there, look, flapping away. Trying to gee himself up here a little bit, Agassi. And that was the second serve, not that hard, 108 miles an hour, but so beautifully placed.
It's a firm favourite with the Hewitts. That serve out to the forehand on the deuce side, as is the serve down the tee to the ad side.
Let's succeed.
For Hewitt, that was a wild shot.
14.
Doesn't miss by that much often. terrible backhand.
Just a lack of concentration and focus coming at a very inopportune moment, because what was looking like a very comfortable service game is now turned into a bit of a mini crisis.
Just to keep the ball going, because he knew the tension in the mind of Hewitt, having made those 2 errors on the previous 2 points. And here he is with the first chance to break.
Well, what a fantastic response from Hewitt. First serve percentage is only 43 at the moment, but he is certainly winning the vast majority of points when it goes in. But he needs to get that first serve percentage a little higher, make life an awful lot easier for himself. Well, again, the backhand down the line, proving decisive, but this time it was from Hewitt. The depth was superb, just a foot away from that baseline. Then it becomes very, very difficult to Agassi to control the ball, particularly if he's trying to change direction and make Hewitt move.
Game Hewitt.
Well, they've both now been asked the test,
3-4,
and they both come up with the right answers. 2 break points. Agassi saved in the 3rd game, 1 there. Hewitt saved. I remember the first time they ever played in 1998 in Adelaide, when this man was 16 years old. Extraordinary semi-final in Adelaide it was. I'd gone to see it in particular because Agassi had gone there to prepare for the Australian Open, which he'd won in '95 and had lost in the semi-final in '96 and hadn't played in '97. So '98 was a year when he had hoped to regain that title. And he lost in the first meeting with Hewitt in 2 tie-break sets. It was the sort of launching of Hewitt as an international player. It was extraordinary. I remember Agassi could barely speak after it in the press conference. He was very snappy. believe that he'd lost to a 16-year-old. Both serve percentages a bit low, both.
Well, it's a nice effective slice approach shot here from Hewitt. Again, the return was good, forcing the short reply from Agassi, and then Hewitt just taking one hand off the racket rather, coming underneath the ball. See the amount of slice on it. That means it keeps nice and low.
I always think that Agassi knows what it feels like to play Agassi when he's playing Hewitt, and that return was typical of his own returns. Forcing the error by rushing the opponent.
Well, last night Agassi was able to find his first serve when he needed it most throughout the encounter, and did so again there, and that gives you a huge boost in confidence when you're able to earn a cheap point.
Takes him into a 4-3 lead in the first set.
Well, both players obviously managing to hold serve so far. But the first serve percentage for both players is very low. Last night Agassi was in the mid to late 60s throughout the encounter, and that's one of the reasons why he was able to win the match. Today he started to struggle with it a little bit. You can see though it's very effective. He's only lost 2 points when the first serve has found its mark, and on the second serve 50% is the cutoff point there, so he's only just doing well enough on the second serve. So that's something that the Americans got to keep an eye on. It's also something that Hewitt's got to keep an eye on as well, because his first serve percentage isn't much better, just a single percentage point in fact. And he served a couple of aces, which is okay, but it's very, very effective. He's only lost 1 point in the match so far when the first serve's gone in, so that is earning him some cheap points. But Agassi is getting a look at that second serve and making the most of it, so both players have to take that into consideration.
Well, the cool air from that fan, very welcome at the change of ends. Sun right overhead once more, and swelteringly hot.
Time.
Though not as hot as it has been. And a very, very enthusiastic crowd who have lent atmosphere to these championships. Every day they've been here in numbers in the evenings particularly, and the night matches have been quite special. First change of balls. 3-4.
Lovely. 59.
Scratching his head.
That's a cheap error. That's why he got the advantage, winning the first point of the game, and would have fully expected, obviously, to make that ball. Wasn't under any real pressure at all. And the backhand cross-court has been working exceptionally well for him thus far in the match.
that Hewitt is beginning to feel the pressure of Agassi's persistent length. A quarter chance. Well, you have to hand it to him. He's been doing that all week. It was no surprise, really, was it?
It's been the biggest improvement, I think, in Hewitt's game in the last year or so. The ability to use that first serve when he needs it most to earn cheap points.
$121 miles an hour, so you don't need the 143s of Roddick necessarily.
Now, Hewitt, of all the services, one of the most accurate, can hit the corners at will.
But nevertheless, worrying errors, and he is chuntering away there, as he always does, talk to himself. He won't like that error.
There's no doubt he's a little bit tight. The occasion has got to him ever so slightly at the beginning of this match. He's been hasn't quite hit the ball as cleanly as he has done earlier in the week, and they are worrying signs for him.
So slightly.
Advantage, Agassi.
And for the second service game in a row, he faces a break point. The return was brilliant, and he went back behind himself to pick up that backhand unexpectedly well. 5-3.
Well, that's a fantastic return. Took Agassi totally by surprise. He was fully expecting Hewitt to go down the line to the Agassi backhand, but instead just taking the pace off the ball and getting the short inside-out angle. Superb.
Just missing, and look at him chuntering away there.
Basic errors. He'll be distraught, really, with his inability to put Agassi under any kind of pressure by stringing a number of points together when the American's serving.
Your key shot again.
And this time I think Hewitt was a little fortunate, because Agassi had an opportunity, because Hewitt had dropped the ball short, and Agassi, although he got good length on the ball, didn't really unwind with the upper body to get the necessary pace to hurt Hewitt, and the Australian took full advantage.
Aha. A little bit of tension this side of the net now. An unexpected gift for Hewitt. 2 break points now for the Australian.
Look
at those mutters going on. 2 points away from the set now. And with his first ace of the match, appropriately, Agassi moves to set point. And there it is. And applauded by his coach, Agassi, wrapping up the set with a serve and volley that was quite unexpected. 6 games to 3 in 42 minutes.
The Western and Southern Financial Group Masters is
well, that was a really effective change-up by Agassi on the set point to throw in the serve and volley. We saw him do that on occasion in the semi-final yesterday evening, and to do it then was a masterstroke, really, because Hewitt certainly wasn't expecting that. As we mentioned earlier, both players not serving as well as they would have liked. We thought the first serve would dominate this encounter, but it hasn't really been the case. Both players would like to get that up minimum above 50%, but into the 60s if they can. But it's been a tidy match as far as Agassi's concerned. Just 7 winners. Many of those have been backhands up the line, and just 5 unforced errors. But look at Hewitt, 15 unforced errors there. That's most uncharacteristic, and he's been able to generate a few winners as well, but he's got to do something about the free points that he's giving away. Had 4 opportunities to break, didn't make the most of any of those. That's something the Australians got to change. So Agassi in the lead, but both players will look to be playing a little better in the second set.
Here are some of Agassi's winners then from that first set. So that surprise appearance at the net and the volley behind it, good enough. Well, of course, the fans here absolutely thrilled. Last year it was an All-American final when Roddick beat Mardy Fish.
Second set, Hewitt to Super.
And Agassi accounting for both last year's finalists, Fish in the first round and Roddick, winner last year, yesterday. Second set.
Let's proceed. 30 That's for 6.
Too easy.
40
Perhaps a slight reaction after that rather tense finish to the first set. Because they're having to save those break points, remember? He's not a happy camper at the moment, Hewitt, making these hatful of errors. I mean, he's been so mean with unforced errors this week. We've been calling him Mr. Mean for that reason. But today, very generous.
That's for 6.
Well, that's a bit better. Finishing with ace number 7. The change ends.
First game, 6.
And one thing that has happened now is, of course, the sun has been out for quite a while and has completely changed the temperature. Whereas it was 82 when the cloud cover was with us, it's now in the 90s. And I might just look at our thermometer again. And there it is, look. It's certainly 90. And probably climbing a little. I think there, the face of a man who's quite pleased with himself.
59.
Obviously, they decided the serve was crucial today. In the many crises of this match so far, Agassi has found some wonderful serves.
Well, it's amazing that Agassi actually hit his leg with the racket as he was swinging through to make contact with the ball. And usually that's something that you see him doing at club level. So
just too much ground to cover.
Well, the shot selection from Agassi was superb and the execution was even better. The length he got on the backhand down the line was within 6 inches of the line, and then the inside-out forehand was short, so it gave Hewitt an even greater distance to try and cover.
Lovely kick on that one, coming up to shoulder height. Uncontrollable.
That's certainly the shot that Hewitt, I think, will be most disappointed with today so far. The return of the Agassi second serve. He's not doing enough with it. He's not able to dominate the rally with that shot, and therefore Agassi is able to dictate. And that's certainly something that the American likes to do, and he's been able to put Hewitt under enough pressure to draw quite a lot of errors. 16 in total at the moment from Hewitt.
50-11.
Well, trying to keep that good length. Occasionally he will fall into error. And the improved serving of Hewitt evident in that game again.
Hewitt needs to get
winning it to love to take a 2-1 lead in the second set.
Well, it was a good service game by Hewitt, but his problem really has been in dealing with the Agassi serve. And you can see there the American has been very accurate with the serves, and he always does. He just basically serves to the four corners. Very rarely will Agassi serve into the body. In the second serve, it's very similar. He serves the vast majority of those to the backhand. You can see the cluster there in the middle of your screen to the deuce court, and the cluster to the left of your screen in the ad court. Just occasionally, he's going to throw one into Hewitt's forehand just to keep him guessing. But Hewitt will certainly be looking to take advantage of the Agassi serve, because we know he's one of the best returners in the game. But look at the quality of the return of the first serve. A lot of those balls dropping very short, so Agassi's certainly able to dictate the points from that position. Only a couple of them landing anywhere near the baseline. But it's the second serve return that Hewitt will be looking to do damage with. But you can see here that the accuracy isn't particularly good. A lot of those black balls, the second serve returns, dropping in the middle of the court, occasionally going to the Agassi forehand to keep him guessing, but it's not good enough length, and Agassi's able to dictate.
Well, always wears his cap backwards, does Lleyton, like one or two others.
Time.
Tommy Haas and Nicholas Kiefer, the two Germans, seem always to wear their caps backwards. Always room for more. Well, that's right, because they're talking there about the 16 shields that he's got. They're representing the 16 Masters Series titles. He has won more than anyone else. Just checking where the sun is for his toss.
Let's proceed.
Shaking his head Surprised by the drop shot, getting there in plenty of time though. I mean, another surprising error. They're mounting.
And it's hurting his chances, no doubt about that. Most uncharacteristic.
That's a very tough shot to try. Almost a half volley, not quite, but an early hit. Forehand changing the direction over the high part of the net. Risky. Hasn't quite been able to get the fire in his belly today, Hewitt. Haven't seen much really pumping and come-ons from him. Simply because Agassi has tied him up often with the serve, which continues to be a very high quality in placement, even though not too many first ones are going in.
But it's much improved from the opening set. Remember, his first serve percentage was languishing in the 40s in the first set. Now it's up to 56% for the match, but 82% in this set. So there is a marked improvement.
2-all.
15
The number of aces that have slid by there, that's of the 9. I should think about 6 of them have been there.
That's a better shot by Hewitt.
13.
Very rare, his winners from the back of the court. Agassi just getting caught a little flat-footed for the first time in the match. Forehand inside out's a shot that Hewitt likes to use. Just hasn't been able to do it enough as he would have liked so far in this encounter.
14.
We'll have to start talking about the brilliant serving of Hewitt before we talk about his consistency. 10 aces.
Hewitt needs to bring
He
in
may not be altogether happy with his ground game, but he can't be worrying too much about his serve. He's 3-2. Well, this is the most beautiful afternoon, it really is, in Mason, Ohio. The fans fanning themselves. And wherever you look, there are flutters all around the arena. And they've come here in numbers all week. Very well attended tournament, and it is arguably the oldest of all the regular tournaments that haven't ever departed from the calendar. 1899, the first tournament was held in Cincinnati, and every year since the tournament has been held. And it's become, as I say, the tournament of choice when the players vote on their favourite tournaments more than any other event. Well, a little refreshment. Everybody, very important to keep the fluids going for the spectators as well as the players. And all around this ground there are plenty of stations for refreshment of various kinds.
Time.
And this whole complex now belongs to the tournament. It was purchased quite recently, so we know that the tournament is now safe for the future. It used to be leased, this ground. It's now owned. 2-3.
Well, again, it's a mystery to me why Hewitt hasn't been able to return that serve a lot better today. Certainly not swinging freely at the ball. Perhaps just signs of tension.
30. 40.
Well, he's very focused still.
3 against 4.
So no sign of last night's exertions affecting his play today. But perhaps if Hewitt can snatch this second set somehow, then he will have a slight advantage.
Too many unforced errors by Hewitt, but Agassi's made a couple more this set than he did in the whole of the first, so he's got to keep an eye on that. Well, the ball taken nice and early here by Hewitt. His length was excellent. Obviously, he did well to get the ball as deep as he did, but it just wasn't quite as aggressive enough, and Hewitt was able to take the ball before it got above shoulder height and generate some good pace.
Haven't heard too many shouts for Lleyton in the crowd. A few little young voices yelling for Andre. Yes, still scratching his head as to how to take advantage of the Hewitt serve. Hewitt's been serving too well. There's further evidence of it. I must say, this is a terrific performance on serve. And I think Hewitt, the battle of 30 years, will find a way somehow of breaking the Agassi serve.
Well, as long as Hewitt continues to hold serve, he's still in with a shout of levelling matters at one set apiece, and that's all he'll be focusing on at the moment. We've seen throughout the week players struggle with their form occasionally, and all they've got to try and do then is to continue to hold serve, and worst case scenario, then they can then take the set into a tie-break, and as we know, anything can happen at that stage of a set. So for Hewitt, I think he won't be happy with the way he's hitting the ball from the back of the court. He is making too many unforced errors. He's not dictating as many of the rallies as he would like, so I think he's got to continue to focus on holding serve, and then if he does get an opportunity on the Agassi serve, then all well and good. Hopefully he'll be able to take an advantage of it. But if we are to go into a tie-break, then obviously he'll be looking to do something a little bit special at that time of this second set.
Well, the Americans were hoping for the semi-final that they got, Roddick against Agassi, and I'm sure most of them here are hoping that Agassi can continue the good work of the first city and take his third title in this city, adding to his successes in 1995 when he beat Michael Chang, and 1996 when he again beat Chang. But he hadn't been in the final since then, since 96 until today. Chang beat him in the semi-final in 93 and Sampras in a semi-final in 99. So this is a rejuvenation for Agassi. Yes, he was alive to the danger. Full marks, Hewitt.
And he does execute the drop volley particularly well, the Australian. The overhead, of course, is very effective too, but you're absolutely right. It was the anticipation. He thought Agassi might get the ball back, and he was ready.
Well, he can't afford to weaken, because Mr. Consistency at the other end will wear him down. Is that a concerned look? Love 30.
Pressure on Agassi there, executing that smash. Excellent footwork, moving back, getting underneath the ball, keeping his eye on the ball, and making that last second adjustment to make sure that he was fully on balance when he swung the racket at the ball.
Two anxious netted balls from the back court in this game, and a break point for Hewitt. It's fifth.
Please.
He has got him. There is the break. I thought it was coming.
Well, finally, we see Hewitt showing some of that emotion, and there he plays his very best tennis when he is pumped up, and that forehand attempt at a pass was enough to draw the error. And I'm sure now he will feel he's in the final for the first time.
Very true. He's been not quite the sparkling Hewitt of the rest of this week until that moment. Serving for one set all.
50. 50.
Well, it's always, when you've lost a set, it's always a pressure-packed situation when you're trying to serve out the second. And understandably a bit tense for that third double fault. Slightly tentative Agassi, not the sort of confident blasting at the ball that he was showing us last night. And TMI agrees that it did just miss. Well, the change has certainly come over this match in the last two games. Agassi's certainly a little tentative now, making errors that he wasn't. Hewitt beginning to find the confidence that he'd lacked, and he's reached double set point.
Game second set.
Beautifully completed, with his 12th ace on the match. His fiancée seems pretty pleased, so does his coach. An hour and 13 minutes have passed exactly, and it's one set all.
Well, his camp have every right to feel delighted, as does Hewitt, because he was very patient throughout the set. He wasn't playing particularly well, but the key in winning big matches is to play the big points well and to take your opportunities when they come your way. Look at the bottom of your screen there on the left-hand side. One break point for Hewitt, and that was what he took advantage of. Agassi wasn't able to generate any of his own, and that's why he struggled. The first serve percentage from the American was unbelievable and served very well throughout the set, but it's just that one bad game that Hewitt was able to take advantage of. Hewitt made many less unforced errors in that second set than he did in the first, so that's a nice tidying up of his game plan. And I think if he can continue to serve effectively, now he will be an awful lot more confident in his ability to be able to get the right result in today's final.
And here are some of Hewitt's winners from the second set. The reaction of the Hewitt support group, his coach and his fiancée, and a typical gritty performance this from Hewitt, who wasn't quite himself really for a set and has forced his way into the match.
And that's what great players always do. They find a way to win when they're not playing particularly well. All week we've seen how well Hewitt's been playing, and he's winning his matches very comfortably. But today he's not playing well, but he still finds himself heading into a deciding set. And that's always the mark of a true champion.
Shocked, I think, to lose the first set of the week today. Here's the final set. The crowd is certainly going to try and play a part in this, trying to lift Agassi to the heights of the earlier part of the match. Come on, Andre, they shriek. I'm still waiting to hear somebody yell, "Come on, Lleyton." And he's sitting forward now. He was looking pretty relaxed for a set, sitting back. So the first double fault from Agassi.
Let's for service.
Life made easier by the net.
First game, final set.
And quickly up to make his winner. So, promising start there.
We saw him respond well last night to dropping the second set in his match with Roddick. It was the only time really in the match where he played poorly, just for a 2 or 3 minute period. And he has had that aberration on serve in that second set. And apart from that, he's hit the ball very, very well on serve. So if he can start to get hold of some of these returns, particularly on Hewitt's second serves, I'm sure he'll still feel he's got an excellent opportunity in this match.
I think that would be good tactics, trying to make Agassi run. Now remember, he was on this court last at about 10:15 last night, finishing his match against Roddick. This is terrific serving. I mean, 13 aces. Didn't really, in the past, associate Hewitt with a lot of aces.
Well, he's won 24 of 26 when the first serve's gone in, so that shows you how effective it's been throughout this encounter.
Well, Hewitt is beginning to wear Agassi down here. It's what he does to all his opponents. One all.
striking from Agassi. Again, he was in his favourite position, just to the left of centre, just behind the baseline, and therefore he was able to dominate the rally without having to move too much. And that's what he loves to do best.
Each man surprising the other with the quality of serving today. And so it was yesterday, as Roddy freely admitted afterwards. Agassi served too well for him. No call from that person in the chair. No call or overrule from last graph. And no reason to. It seemed to have hit the line.
Very difficult for the linesman to get a clear picture of that, and indeed the umpire, because Agassi was shielding their view from where the ball actually bounced.
But the crowd want that call out, but they're not going to get it. It's 40-15. And they can cheer now, all right. Their hero has taken a slender lead in this final set, 2-1.
Well, it's a very similar match this evening, not in terms of quality of tennis, not in terms really of the type of opponent that Agassi is playing, but in terms of the fact that he did win the opening set and he just had that little mini letdown in the second set, and then he's reacted well at the beginning of this deciding set. So I think last night's match will have stood him in good stead for believing that he can come through the match today. But it's given the fact that he's not hitting the ball as well as he did last night, he's going to have to try and manufacture the win in a slightly different way.
And that won't be easy, will it? Because Hewitt is a very persistent customer. And himself serving so well. He's having struggles. I mean, he's obviously got to break serve, or if it goes to a tie break, he's got to try and break a service point then. But Hewitt is playing on serve too well. I don't think we're going to see any change of tactics from either of them. They're both doing what they do best, or trying to impose their game on the other, which is what you should do in match play. Make your opponent dance to your tune.
Yeah, they've set the stall out early, and I think both will be ever so slightly disappointed with the way they're hitting the ball from the back of the court. I think both can play better, and both certainly have done earlier in the week. But what they will be pleased with is the ease, the vast majority of the time, that they're holding serve, and that's always important for a player. And I think they'll both focus very much on continuing to do that, and then if they do get any opportunities, obviously they'll be looking to make the most of them. If not, then obviously we'll head into a tiebreak.
1-2. Time and time and time again, that slider out wide has brought dividends. Encouragement there from Hewitt's coach and fiancé.
Thirteen.
I think they're both feeling the strain a bit here. It's been a good year for Hewitt. He's 4th in the list of match wins with 43 wins. Only Moyer with 51, Federer with 57, and Roddick with 58 have won more. A certain tension has crept into the match now from both of them. They're both playing a little carefully. And that error into the net has given Agassi the first chance in this set to break serve. Hewitt's defence quite wonderful in the middle of it, but Agassi persisted and has his break.
Well, first blood to Agassi in this deciding set. Now it gets really interesting because Agassi will certainly start to feel now he's obviously got an excellent opportunity to win this match, and much depends on whether he just tightens up.
He found his best serving form when he most needs it. 6th ace and 30 love. Brilliance. And a standing ovation, the crowd rising to Agassi as he consolidates the break with a love service game to give him forward.
Well, what a response from Agassi, and Hewitt now has found himself with a real mountain to climb, because we just talked about the fact that Agassi could see the finish line, and would he get a little bit tight, and not a bit of it. probably his most efficient service game for a long, long time, and really emphasises the position that Hewitt finds himself in now. His back's really against the wall, only 2 games away from losing this final, so what's the Australian got left? We shall see.
Well, if there's one thing Hewitt will do, it is fight till the last gasp. We can guarantee that. And we've seen him turn around matches that seemed quite out of reach. None better than in the Davis Cup final when he was playing against Federer. And he was 2 sets to luck down and a breakdown in the third that he came storming back and won. I mean, incredible fighter he is, and Agassi won't underestimate him. Almost like a Davis Cup tie, this played in American.
Well, 4-1 seems a lot. It's just that single break of serve, so the first thing Hewitt's got to do is reduce the arrears and hope that he can put a little bit of pressure on Agassi.
Agassi being buzzed by wasp or flies at the far end. Fourth double fault. Concern there. When you notice this change in Hewitt in the 4th game of this set, making the errors again. Incredible accuracy from both men there. And Hewitt here fighting for his life. Well, there's the grittiness of him. Despite the double fault, despite making errors that he would hate to be doing, he's held.
That's exactly what he needs to do. Was able to reduce the arrears to just 2 games and be looking to get the first of the points in this next game. Let's try and put a little bit of pressure on Agassi, but last time Agassi served, it was a phenomenal game full of unreturnable serves.
First point of the game at this stage of the match is so important, and that is a bit of a blow. Another of those unexpected errors. He's now committed 30 unforced errors. Well, that is an enormous number.
Well, it's criminal, and particularly at this stage in the match. When you go love 15 up, you simply can't afford to gift the point to your opponent. We expected Agassi to win the vast majority of points when the first serve went in, but we expected Hewitt to do a little better when getting a look at Agassi's second serve throughout the match, and it just simply hasn't worked for the Australian.
Annoyed with himself for taking unnecessary risks. It's Hewitt who's been making the errors. And the percentage play there was to keep the rally going and say to Hewitt, all right, come on, find a winner. But throughout, he has been serving quite brilliantly, particularly on the big points. And they don't come much bigger than that last one. 40-30. That's too good.
And interesting with that change of direction. Agassi not chasing that ball down, so obviously trying to conserve his energy, realizing that the chances of winning that rally were pretty slight. It was a nice change of direction by Hewitt, not going for the pace, just the accuracy.
Well, his advances to the net today have been made at exactly the right times, haven't they? There was the set point, the cross-court backhand volley, another backhand volley there. Talking to himself all the time, Hewitt. Well, that was a big test that was of Agassi's temperament, and it's held firm when it most mattered. He's 5-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the winners of today's speed serve contest. In the men's category,
well, full marks to Agassi. I don't think there's any doubt that he is feeling a little jaded, not chasing every single ball down like he did at the beginning of the match, but he's just focused fully on holding serve, and that's something that he's done fantastically well throughout the match. 61% of first serves have gone in. He's won 77% of points when the first serve's found its mark, 36 out of 47. It's an area of his game that we don't often talk about. We talk about him returning serve well. We talk about him dominating the rallies from the back of the court, but we don't talk about him dominating his service games by hitting the vast majority of them for cheap and easy points. And that's something that certainly helped him conserve energy throughout the encounters today, and it certainly kept him in the match when he's been under pressure. So I think that's an area of his game that he will certainly appreciate. Has done much to get him into the position now of standing just 4 points away from victory.
Well, this crowd has been entertained right royally last night and again this afternoon. by one of the icons of American tennis, the ageless Andre Agassi, 34 years old and still playing wonderful tennis.
Lovely teaching.
We haven't seen Hewitt come from that much in the match at all. That's the first time in this deciding set. And just 6 times in total in the match, and he's won 4 of the points. It's certainly something that he could have done a little more often, but Agassi's kept him pinned back to the baseline with some exceptional length.
So many of those unexpected errors today. That rises to 32, the count of unforced errors. Agassi now within reach of the title on the Hewitt serve.
Please.
Well, it's been a sorry story for Hewitt. The errors have cost him very dear today. Match point. Indeed, championship point for Agassi. And a foot fault for the first time in the match.
Please.
An exhausting rally. 20 strokes in that rally.
And Agassi hasn't lost many of those. More often than not, it's been the American that's come out on top. And they've traded those blows, backhand to backhand.
Still alive, but only just.
The anticipation was superb. He picked the fact that Hewitt was going to serve out wide, and he was ready and able to take advantage of it.
So again, championship point.
Thank you.
He's done it. Well, what an unfortunate end, the double fault. Hewitt's 5th today. And an overjoyed Agassi will salute the crowd. What a moment in his restored career, a 59th title, and he stands in 7th position in the Open era for titles won on the all-time list. So there it is. Agassi wins 6-3, 3-6, 6-2 in an hour and 46 minutes.
Thanks.
Well, what can you say about this remarkable athlete? I mean, he didn't look like a winner of the tournament at the start of the week, but he finished looking every inch a champion.
And that's what counts. Great players find a way to win when they're not playing particularly well, and that's exactly what Agassi was able to do. Hit the ball pretty poorly in his opening match, and again struggled to a 3-set victory in his second round match, but thereafter started to hit the ball pretty well. And although he didn't play as well today as he did last night against Roddick, I think those two wins back to back with very little time to recover will have given Agassi a huge boost in confidence, and I think now he will believe he can win the US Open, and he will believe that he can challenge the best players in the world. It remains to be seen whether he can challenge Federer when Federer plays his best, but he's done enough to win the tournament this week, and what an effort. It's all pretty much to do with the first serve. The percentage was excellent, above 60%, and it was very, very effective, and it has been throughout the week, particularly in the latter stages. And he played a very tidy match as well, just 22 unforced errors as opposed to 34 from Hewitt. And crucially, Agassi was able to play the break points better, winning 3 of 5. Hewitt had 5 as well, but was only able to take advantage of 1 of those. So Agassi was by far the better player today and is a true worthy champion.
Well, he's certainly that. Nobody could question his credentials. 8 Grand Slams to his name. He now becomes the 8th person here in Cincinnati to have won this title 3 times. Only one man has done it in the Open era, and that was Pete Sampras in the 90s. But he becomes the 2nd in the Open era, the 8th overall to win 3 times here. This is his reaction to the call of fault, double fault, and he raises his arms in triumph, turning towards Darren Cahill, his coach. It's an absolutely marvellous moment in a career that certainly has been restored. It's been a terrible year for him, and he hadn't won a title, remember. The only other year he hadn't won a title since 1988 was 1997, the year when he sank to 143 in the world rankings. And he was having marital problems and so on, private problems at the time, but he's come bouncing back to his very best today. I mean, last night and today, I didn't think I would see again from him, but I'm delighted I have.
No, I didn't think at the beginning of the week that he had it in him. I didn't think he could compete with the likes of Roddick on a fast court, because he wouldn't serve well enough, wouldn't return well enough. But he did both last night, and he certainly served well enough today, and that's been really the critical factor, because he was able to earn a lot of cheap points. And really, it's great for tennis that he's back here, because we've got Federer, we've got Roddick that are both playing particularly well, and if you can add Agassi into that mix at the US Open, then that would be a fantastic event.
Well, the presentation ceremony will commence in just a moment. Everything is being prepared for the moment when we shall all recognize Agassi as the champion. In a moment, Peter Osborne will introduce the presentation ceremony. They're getting the players in place just before the trophies are presented. He's won $400,000, Agassi, today, but he won't be thinking about that just now. He'll be thinking about the 100 points.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now direct your attention to center court for the trophy presentation to the singles winner and finalist of the 2004 Western and Southern Financial Group Masters. Here is Tournament Chairman Paul Flory.
This has been a great week of tennis in Cincinnati. Would you not agree? I know I speak for all of you when I say congratulations to these two great competitors. I want to quickly thank those who made this possible, the sponsors, the players, the staff, the volunteers, and most of all, you fans. And if you look to your right or left, one of those is from out of town, and we're very pleased about that, to have you as visitors. I want to also thank the weathermen. This wasn't easy, but we did all right, didn't we? And now to present the trophies is the CEO of the Western and Southern Masters, and it is John Barrett. John.
Thanks, Jerry. No. Thank you, Paul. On behalf of my colleagues at Western and Southern, I want to thank all of you for coming out, but especially the Flory family for putting on such a first-class tournament year after year.
Paul's
and of course,
son, Bruce,
you are
is
the greatest tennis
director.
fans there are, so thank you for making it all possible. I guess first we ought to give a little check for $200,000 to our finalist, Lleyton Hewitt, who was a finalist 2 years ago and lost his first set today and beat 3 former champs getting here. Lleyton, congratulations. Thank you. And we've got a Waterford Crystal trophy for you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. You know, we haven't seen a battle like this since the last time the Ohio legislature was in together, you know, so this is wild. Lleyton, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, firstly, I'd like to congratulate Andre on a great week. You know, we all know you haven't played that much tennis this year, mate, and it's an incredible week's tennis, the guys that you've beaten this week, so congratulations. I'd like to thank Paul and Bruce Flory for putting on such a wonderful tournament. It's a pleasure to come back and play here in Cincinnati. You two are the great tournament directors for our events around the world, and I really thank you. Thank you. I'd like to thank all the sponsors. Without them, these kind of tournaments aren't possible. You know, the players love coming back here and playing, and we have such a tough field here, the top 64 players in the world, so thank you for putting in so much money to the event. And lastly, I'd just like to thank my coach Roger, my fiancée Kim, and my group over there. Thanks a lot for the support. Cheers.
Thank you, Lleyton. Thank you. And now it's my pleasure to give the Masters Series Waterford Trophy to Andre Agassi and $400,000 for winning today. But Andre joins only 2 other gentlemen to have won this tournament 3 times. That is really saying something. Andre, thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you. I love you too. No, you the man. First, I just want to thank Lleyton for those kind words. You know, there are a few guys out here that really inspire you to push yourself to get better, and you've been one of those for me for the last number of years, and thanks for that. It's been a bit of a difficult year for me. It started well, but you know, it's been a bit of a struggle, and I can't tell you what how many doubts I came to this week with, and you know, coming out here in the court and playing such great competitors, and just to barely get through so many of them, it just feels like a dream for me this week. And I want to say a special thank you to my coach Darren. Darren, you believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself, man, and I won't forget that. Thank you. your doubts get exposed out here, and you've really helped me to achieve so many dreams. So thank you for that, Darren. And I also want to say a special thank you to Paul Flory for running such a great event. He's been so good to me over the years, and like Lleyton said, I'm just going to reiterate it. The players love coming here because of the job you do, and because of you fans. You guys are as enthusiastic as... You guys are truly some of the greatest fans to play in front of. It's a treat for all of us players, and thank you for your support of this game and your love of this game. And one last thing, as great and as special as this week has been, it's going to pale in comparison to how it feels when I walk through my home tonight and see my family. So thank you very much, and I'll be home soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Paul.
Thank you, and this concludes our 2004 tournament. Thank you very much.
Well, nicely done. And Agassi, I must say, overjoyed he must be to have won this title. A 59th in his career, and gracious words from both men. That was nice too, and it can't be easy for Lleyton to have lost today, because I think his expectation was high coming in, but he handled himself well.
Yes, he did, and I think he's getting a little more mature as each year passes, and that's good to see. He is a worthy champion himself, of course, but some days players are going to get the better of him, and it's nice to see that he can handle himself very well on those occasions. And Agassi, very interesting to hear that he did have some doubts, and we all thought that he wasn't going to perhaps be able to raise the level of his performance against the best players in the world anymore, but he's proved that he can this week, and that's a tremendous boost for not only him but tennis in general. So it's nice to see such a great champion still finding a way to win.
And that shield, 17 of them now. He has, no man has more. And he'll be putting that on the mantelpiece or wherever he keeps them beside the others with equal pride, perhaps even more pride, because it's never easy to come back when you've sunk a little bit to restore your career, having hit such heights in the past. Never an easy thing to do. He's done it in spades this week. Quite superlative tennis he played last night to contain and then dominate Andy Roddick, and today one felt he always had the edge against Lleyton Hewitt despite losing that middle set. And of course he's on the way to the US Open with high hopes again now, and I think that is going to be a fascinating couple of weeks, because with Agassi back in the form he now is, with Roddick playing as well as he is, and with Federer unquestionably the world #1, then we're going to have some fireworks in New York. So that's it. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage here in Cincinnati, following on from Toronto last week. The next Tennis Masters series we shall be welcoming you to will be in Madrid, and that is going to be on Monday the 18th of October. Make a date in your diaries and join us all then. So for Jason Goodall, I'm John Barrett, and for indeed the entire TPL production team, we hope you've enjoyed our coverage and will join us again in Madrid. Meanwhile, from all of us here in Cincinnati, it's goodbye.